Hey, welcome back to Rise and Grow Stories. I'm Tom, and today we're talking about someone almost everybody knows, but not many people really understand: Elon Musk. You see the headlines, the rockets, the electric cars, the memes. You hear numbers like billions and think, wow, he's just crazy lucky or a genius from another planet. But today, I want to tell you a different kind of story. Not the story of a billionaire, the story of a human being who almost lost everything more than once. Because behind every overnight success, there are years of nights nobody ever talks about. Elon was born in South Africa. As a kid, he was quiet, introverted, deep in his own world. He loved reading science fiction and sitting alone with computers. He didn't look like the cool kid. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the most popular. In fact, he was bullied so badly in school that one day a group of boys pushed him down a flight of stairs and beat him until he was unconscious. He ended up in the hospital. Broken nose, broken face, broken confidence. Imagine that for a second. You're just a kid, and you learn very quickly that the world can be cruel. But Elon did something important. He didn't let that become his whole story. He escaped inside books, inside code, inside ideas. He dreamed of things that didn't exist yet: rockets, electric cars, colonies on Mars. Even back then, people thought he was too much, too intense, too obsessed, too unrealistic. And honestly, that never really changed. Years later, after moving to North America, he helped build companies like Zip2 and PayPal. He made money. He could have stopped there, lived a comfortable, quiet life. But comfort wasn't the goal. Impact was. And that's where things got dangerous. He took the money he made and pushed it into ideas most people laughed at: an unknown electric car company in a world full of gas, a private space company trying to do what usually only governments do: Tesla and SpaceX. Today, these names are huge, but back then, they were jokes. People said, electric cars are toys. Private rockets, they'll all explode. This guy is going to burn all his money. And for a while, it looked like they were right. Let's talk about SpaceX for a moment. Between 2006 and 2008, SpaceX launched this rocket, the Falcon 1, 3 times. And 3 times, it failed. One landed in the ocean, another didn't reach orbit. Each launch cost millions of dollars. Imagine what that feels like. Years of work, teams of people, your reputation, your own money. And then, boom, failure. Again. After the third failure, SpaceX was almost dead. Tesla was also struggling. The economy was collapsing in 2008. Investors were scared. The money was almost gone. Elon has said that those were some of the darkest days of his life. He thought he might lose both companies. He thought he might lose everything. He had to borrow money for rent. He was sleeping at the office. He was working insane hours, and still, nothing was guaranteed. Most people in that situation would say, okay, that's it. The universe is saying no. Maybe this is a sign to stop. But he didn't. He decided to try one more time. One more risk. One last shot. If the fourth rocket failed, it was over. On September 28, 2008, SpaceX launched Falcon 1 for the 4th time. The team watched in silence. Years of effort, all the pain, all the pressure. And this time, it worked. Falcon 1 reached orbit. For the first time in history, a private company had launched a liquid-fueled rocket into space. A few months later, SpaceX received a big contract from NASA. That contract helped save the company. That one successful launch wasn't just a technical achievement. It was a turning point. Not just for SpaceX, for Elon's entire life. Now, let's zoom out. When we look at Elon Musk today, we see the rockets that work, the cars that sell, the headlines, the net worth. What we don't see, unless we really look, is the price. We don't see the lonely kid who got beaten up. We don't see the young entrepreneur sleeping in the office. We don't see the man under insane pressure, watching rocket after rocket fail, knowing that one more mistake could kill everything. We don't see the doubt. We don't see the fear. We don't see the nights he must have thought, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I tried too hard. Maybe this is impossible. But here's the key. He didn't stop at maybe. He moved anyway. He acted inside fear, not after it disappeared. Now, this is not a story to say you should be like Elon Musk. You don't have to build rockets. You don't have to work 100 hours a week. You don't have to risk everything. But this story does teach us some powerful lessons about growth, risk, and failure. Let me share 3 simple lessons you can take for your own life. Lesson 1. Big results often feel like failure on the way. From the outside, success looks like a straight line up. From the inside, it feels like 3 failed launches, people laughing at you, almost going broke, everyone telling you this won't work. Sometimes, the experiences that feel like the end are actually just the middle. Maybe right now, there's something in your life that feels like a failed rocket, a project that isn't working, a relationship that hurt, a goal that keeps getting delayed. What if this isn't the end? What if it's just the 3rd launch, and you haven't reached the 4th yet? Lesson 3. You don't need everyone to believe, just enough to keep going. When Elon started Tesla and SpaceX, most people didn't believe. Many actually wanted him to fail. But he didn't wait for universal approval. He moved with the belief he had, and with the few people who believed with him. In your life, you might be waiting for everyone to agree. Your family, your friends, your coworkers. You might be waiting for 0 criticism before you move. But that day may never come. You don't need the whole world to agree. Sometimes you just need your own decision, 1 or 2 supportive people, 1 clear next step. That's enough to start. Lesson 3. Your one more try might change everything. If SpaceX had stopped after the 3rd failure, history books would simply say, a private rocket company tried. It didn't work. The end. But they tried 1 more time, and that changed not just the company, but an entire industry. In your life, I'm not saying you should never quit. Some things are truly not right for us. But many times, we stop 1 try too early. We stop 1 application before getting the job, 1 message before reconnecting, 1 attempt before creating something great. What if your next 1 more try is your 4th launch? So, let's bring this back to you. You might not be building rockets. You might not be running a car company. But you are building something. Your life. And just like Elon, you will face doubt, criticism, failure, dark seasons. You don't get to choose if those things happen, but you do get to choose what you do after they happen. Do you stop at the 3rd failure? Or do you prepare for the 4th launch? Before we end, I want to leave you with a simple reflection. Take a moment and ask yourself, where in my life did I stop after the 3rd failure? Maybe it was learning a skill, starting a business, getting healthier, building a relationship. Now ask, what would a 4th launch look like for me? Something small, specific, and doable. Not a huge dramatic move, just 1 clear action. Maybe it's sending 1 email, making 1 phone call, trying 1 more time, giving yourself 1 more chance. If you feel inspired, write it down somewhere or share it in the comments. Because sometimes your life doesn't change when you learn a new idea. It changes when you decide to try 1 more time. Thank you for listening to Rise and Grow Stories. I'm Tom, and I'm glad you spent these minutes with me today. If this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs a little extra courage for their fourth launch. Remember, behind every overnight success is a person who kept going when it would have been easier to stop. I'll see you in the next story.